How did you respond after your ex wanted you back after leaving you? My girlfriend and I had a great laugh at the text my ex sent. I know you don't want to be with her, come back to me, I love you. She broke up with me due to her cheating on me. Text came 6 months later. If you both have iPhones, just press space and never respond. A friend of mine found a gif of the I'm typing dots that you can send to someone in a text. It just goes on and on forever. He sends it to his ex when she gets blabby. So far, she's not caught on. I got a similar text on my honeymoon from my ex. Then she called my wife. We picked up for the lulz. My ex proceeded to tell my wife that she slept with me the night before and to check my ass for bite marks. My ex did not know we were on our honeymoon. Also, we had been on our honeymoon for 2 days already. Said yes multiple times. Not the brightest idea. Yup. I was young and stupid. Now I'm just stupid. She broke up with me because I got glasses and wasn't attractive enough for her. Few years later and I'm wearing contacts and had grown into myself a little better, and suddenly she's texting me again. Ironic thing is she was recently single because she gained weight and her boyfriend didn't find her attractive anymore. I just laughed at the schadenfreude and told her to stop contacting me. Hey, can we? No. Call ended. These need upvoted more. People complain about knowing they are making stupid choices but doing it anyway, and that seems to be the popular ones here. Don't encourage weak behavior. If you know it's stupid but do it anyway, then you get no sympathy. I miss my ex at times, and now that I'm moving to the same city as her, she wants to meet up for drinks. I'm being polite, but no way am I seeing her again intentionally after dumping me. One day it's, I love you so much. The next it's, I'm okay with never seeing you again. There are too many mountains in this world for me to keep digging in the same spot for gold. You have permission to ask me out again. What? This actually happened to a friend of mine. He apparently got dumped and then was asked to get back with the girl in a similar manner. Later on he confided in me and said that they were never even dating to begin with. High school is weird, man. This girl asked out my friend, and then after a couple of weeks she broke up with him. Then right after she broke up with him, we're talking seconds, she asked my other friend out right in front of my friend she literally just broke up with. Because she really wanted to date my other friend but didn't know how to get close to him. After a few seconds of severe confusion he just said, no. She called them a-holes and stormed off. We were all stunned, and just didn't know how to react. High school is a weird place. Said I missed her, had make-up sex, and then told her that I couldn't do it. It was how she broke up with me, and I wanted her to know how it felt. Shit, that's brutal. Deserved? Not for me to say. But at least you probably imparted her with a little empathy. It actually sort of validated that people behave just as shitty as she does. This, if anything, will just teach her to be even more vindictive. Ran into her at a bar after 6 months of no contact while she was out with some other dude. Almost ran away from her. Had that flight response for sure. She grabbed my arm and said please talk to me. Chatted with her for 5 minutes. Left her and went to another bar, and then got home where she called me and we talked till 4 a.m. Next afternoon agreed to hang out with her, and she was all over me and I was holding back. Dropped her off at her place and by some miracle didn't bang her, as she got completely naked and kissing me all over. She was a smoking hot blonde with a lot of crazy. Went home to ice the boys down. Next morning I get a collect call from the county jail. It was her asking for a ride. After I left she got into a fight with her mom and assaulted her. Picked her up and told her that I can't ever hang out with you like that ever again. She nodded and I dropped her off. Kept in touch with her since I think I was the only guy who cared for her but didn't want sex out of her for the next 6 months. She told me she was going to move to the West Coast one day and I agreed to hang out with her the night before she left. She ended up crying all over me as I was dropping her off, saying how much she loved me and messed up and how she didn't ever want to lose me in her life. I promised her that I'd always be there for her. While she was on the West Coast we ended up talking on the phone on a daily basis, quite frequently. She was a great friend. One morning on the way to work I realized I didn't hear from her the night before. I called her phone and it was disconnected and I find it odd but didn't think too much of it. Get home from work and I get a phone call from a friend who was friends with her mutual friends on Facebook as I never friend her on Facebook after our breakup saying dude she died. She overdosed on too much booze and pills. He didn't realize that I was still talking to her on a daily basis. Fucking floored me. I thought back to that night at that bar and how I would have missed out on the last year of her life if I had ran out instead of actually talking to her and just being there for her. Sometimes, no matter how or why they left you, it's not a bad thing to just be there for someone. I wish I could have been there more somehow. Maybe she would still be here. It sounds like you're a great friend. Don't blame yourself. Appreciate it. I don't blame myself. She had a ton of issues and she drank a lot but wasn't too much of a pill popper. One bad mix one night and that was it. The only thing I feel is just bad, because she was a super smart pretty chick that had so much potential. But you always think, what if I was there? She was sitting there pregnant with some other bloke's kid. Sucks to be you. I had an ex try to hook up with me once while she was pregnant with another guy's kid. I started laughing, got out of the car, and it was at that exact moment that I had definitive closure on our relationship. My ex only wanted me back when I told him I was going to go on a date with someone else. This was after he had 12 affairs in the span of our 8-year relationship, then left me seemingly at random. He cried and threatened to kill himself. I was very calm and gentle with him, and told him I would like us to keep being friends, as we had been in the last 6 months since he dumped me. He kept telling me I was the best person on the planet, and that no one but him would ever make me happy or treat me right. Ha ha. Then he punched my bed frame. I said I wasn't going to compromise my happiness for his, which I had done for many years, and he blatantly asked me to just pretend, and said I'd never whinged about my happiness before, and he couldn't believe that I was so selfish, and I was half the person he thought I was. He cried some more. For the first time in my life, I stuck to my guns. Then he called me a whore. Joke's on him. Went out with the other guy, fell madly in love, am now deliriously happy. Ex's next girlfriend cheated on him. Ah, the classic emotional manipulation. So glad you got out of that. Him. I don't even remember why we broke up. Me. I believe you dumped me because a girl fell asleep on you and you dumped me to ask her out. And she said no? Him. Oh yeah? Me. Yeah. Anyway, nice talking, bye-bye. I do have to commend him for breaking up with you before going for someone else. While a douche and an idiot, he's an honest one, seemingly. Actually laughed in his face. He was at my place picking up his furniture at the time as he was moving to his new place with the girl he cheated on me with. Why he thought that was the best time to discuss trying to rekindle our relationship, I'll never know. I told her I can't be with her again after knowing how she really feels about me. Then she started crying and saying she couldn't stand me being alone without her, and for some reason this made me really upset. All I could say was, "Why are you crying? I will be fine without you. This is what you wanted." She broke up with me sort of out of the blue, and I wasn't really prepared for it. Never quite got over her, but time passed, and I was living with a girlfriend several years later. My ex had kept in touch with me, and we were still friendly. She went through a breakup and I suppose she was emotionally vulnerable, started talking to me a lot out of the blue and began to tell me all sorts of things about how she regretted breaking up with me, and it was just immature insecurities that had led her to it, and how jealous she was that she couldn't have me. As flattering as it was to hear all of that, I was still spoken for, so I kindly deflected the issue until she got her head on straight and mellowed out, got her life together, that sort of thing. We're still friends 7 years after that, and presumably she's moved on. At least I hope she has, since she's looking at buying a house with her fiancé. Ran into my ex a couple months after she broke it off with me for someone else. We ran into each other at a bar. She approached me while I was buying drinks and made some comment about the girl I was there with. She then said something like, "If it doesn't work out or you get bored with her, hit me up." I laughed and said okay. She asked if I was being sarcastic. I was, and walked away after that. I have a similar story. I broke up with her because I found out she was cheating. After a few months and after I got a new girlfriend, I found help to get my 90-gallons aquarium out of her place. At this point, she was about 3 to 4 months pregnant with the other guy. She asked me something along the line of, "If it doesn't work out with her, do you think we could give it another shot?" while her boyfriend was inside the apartment. I answered, "I'll think about it," and drove away into the sunset. It was a Friday night when she asked to meet up at the local mall. I ended up picking up a game, Castlevania, my love, while we were there. We ended up going back to house and watching movies. She ended up asking if I would be willing to be her boyfriend again. I said yes, despite my instincts telling me not to. That night, I ended up going tobogganing with a group of friends. I ended up smashing through a fence and don't remember much of the night. Ended up with a concussion, long hospital visit, blah blah. Anyways, she calls me the next day and the biggest bullshitter on the world took over my body. Before she could even speak, I was yelling into the phone, "Oh, long time and no talk, what have you been up to?" She was chit-chatty and asked about my day. I told her I got a new game and a concussion the night before, and that's all I remember. She cried on the phone and insisted we spent the day together. But I insisted how crazy and unlike me that was. How did you respond after your ex wanted you back after leaving you? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.